Taoiseach, the announcement yesterday of agreement by the European Commission and the British Government on the protocol is very, very welcome. It marks the end of negotiations to resolve trading practicalities. We always said that a workable and durable solution existed if both parties engaged in good faith and if the necessary political will was demonstrated. The protocol represents hard-won protections for Ireland against the sharpest edge of the Tory Brexit. This means guaranteeing no hard border on the island of Ireland, protecting the Good Friday Agreement in its entirety, and maintaining the all-island economy and access to the European single market. While all parties and sectors are now working through the detail of the agreement, it appears that these vital protections have indeed been preserved. We will, of course, be seeking clarifications on certain aspects of the agreement, and I'd ask, Taoiseach, that you facilitate at least some of that process with all parties. However, it does look as though a positive outcome has been achieved for all of Ireland, for our people, for our peace, for our stability, for our economic success. We're now at a turning point, and that is very good news for business and for wider society. And I want to recognise the unified stance taken by the Oireachtas on Brexit and indeed in defence of the protocol over these very difficult years. Such a unified stance and a shared purpose is again required to see the democratic institutions in the North restored with urgency. And we also need, of course, to see the resumption of the North-South Ministerial Council. Last May, the people voted in an historic Assembly election. They voted for an executive of progress, partnership and inclusion. But for 9 months, the DUP has used the pretext of the protocol for their blockade of the executive and the Assembly. Following yesterday's announcement, even by their own logic, there exists now no justification for the DUP to continue this reckless and damaging boycott of democracy. There is no justification for the DUP to keep the executive down while workers, families, businesses struggle with an unprecedented cost of living crisis and as they suffer from chronic treatment waiting lists. The vast majority of people in the North want the parties around the executive table. They want government up and working for them, dealing with the issues that affect their lives. So the onus is now very much on the DUP to join with everyone else in making politics work. The negotiations are over and we need to see the restoration of the executive without further delay. Tá fáilte mór ribh an gcomhainn tú idir an Cumaisiún Eorpach agus rialtas na Breataine an protocol, déileálann sé leis an trádáil practicúla, caithfí an DUP deireadh a chur lena bach na feidhmiúcháin anois díreach. Tá rialtas a bhíonn ag obair ar son na daoine tiltte ag muintir an túisceart. Taoiseach, I am sure that you will join with me in welcoming here on the floor of the Dáil the agreement struck between the European Commission and the British Government. I'm sure you will join with me in welcoming the preservation of those hard-won protections for Ireland contained in the protocol. Taoiseach, I'm sure, like me, you are frustrated by the continued absence of government in the North. Will you, Taoiseach, urge the DUP to end its blockade of the executive, to get back around the ministerial table and join with other parties to deliver a government for all the people of the North?
Thank you very much, Deputy McDonald. Just before calling on the Taoiseach to reply, I want to ask members to join me in extending a céad míle fáilte to a delegation from the Parliament of the Republic of Moldova, who have joined us in the Distinguished Visitors Gallery. The delegation is led by my counterpart, His Excellency Mr. Igor Grosu, President of the Parliament of the Republic of Moldova, and they are accompanied by someone who is very well known to us, Her Excellency Ms. Larissa Miculei, Ambassador of Moldova to Ireland. You're all most welcome.
Taoiseach. Thank you, Ken Corlin. And just would like to join with you in welcoming the delegation from Moldova, Ambassador Larissa, who we all know very well, and to assure you of our continued support for Moldovan's European path, for your membership of the European Union, and our support for you in everything you're trying to do now to defend your independence and your democracy from forces that would undermine us. You're most welcome. Ceann Comhairle tá ásairm go bhfuil socrú nua an áit idir Aontas na Hórpa agus an riocht Aontaithe, the Windsor framework. Tá seansa going anois for an cinteacht a thuairt don phobal agus do luch gnó ó thuaidh agus ó theas. Tá deise going anois díriú an gorgeous down idir Éireann agus an Bratin agus é an Nartú. Tá spás crutha anois, tá súlagam ina méid an Parliament agus an rialtas de thuaisceart in ann teach le chéile arís agus dul i mbun a gcuid oibre. Níl daoine i túisceart Éireann a géirí fiú ar faibanna a buineann leis an táim hart. Tá siad a géirí dul chun cína dhéanamh le chéile. Tá hí chomh-rinta. Ceann Comhairle, the agreement reached today, or rather yesterday, between the UK government and the European Union is most welcome, and I'm very much at idem with the Leader of the Opposition in her remarks in that regard. The Windsor framework is a package of legislative changes at EU and UK level, a political declaration, or rather a number of political declarations, and also amendments to the protocol. And the TCA provides for the protocol to be amended within the first 4 years of operation. From our point of view, as a government, as a people, as a country, I believe we can be comfortable and satisfied with the outcome. When the Brexit referendum happened almost 7 years ago, we set out our main objectives: to ensure there was no hard border between North and South, that the European single market will be protected and our place within it would not be undermined, that the Good Friday Agreement will be upheld, and that there will continue to be free movement of goods and people across the border. And none of this is compromised by this new framework, and more importantly, none of it was ever in question. There will be briefings offered to the parties today or tomorrow. My office will facilitate that, and happy to answer any questions or give any clarifications that we can. And the Taoiseach is going to convene the Brexit stakeholder group, the wider business sector and NGOs and unions and so on, so that we can brief them as well. I think it's fair to say that this is a good agreement for Europe and the United Kingdom. It allows us to put relations back on a more solid footing. Really important now, because we need the United Kingdom as a partner and ally when it comes to the war in Ukraine, when it comes to the energy crisis, when it comes to bringing inflation down and other things that are important to all of us. I think it could be very good for Irish and British relations as well. I believe we can build a new and close partnership post-Brexit with the United Kingdom, and I hope to develop those conversations with Prime Minister Sunak in the period ahead. But above all, I think it works for Northern Ireland. There'll be no hard border between North and South. Businesses will have access to both the EU and UK markets, which is an economic advantage for Northern Ireland. Goods can flow freely from Great Britain to Northern Ireland through the Green Channel, and the same items that are on the shelves in supermarkets in Britain will be on the supermarkets in Belfast. Issues such as medicines, parcels, plants, pets, packages, seed potatoes and steel have all been resolved. And Northern Ireland will be able to apply UK excise and VAT rates in certain circumstances. And a serious effort has been made to close the democratic deficit through the Stormont brake mechanism. So I think it's fair to say that the European Union has listened to the concerns of people, businesses and political parties in Northern Ireland. Those concerns have been listened to, and compromises have been made and changes made where they were possible. I know members are going to want to give some time to consider this agreement. The legal text is 400 pages long. People are going to want to see it, are going to want to pore over it. And I understand that the Northern Ireland parties, including the DUP, and the views of all five parties, all five major parties are important in this regard, that they will want to consider it, ask questions and issue a reasoned response. But I hope at the end of that we'll find that all five parties are able to agree to this, to support it, thus allowing the Assembly, the Executive and the North-South Ministerial Council to function again as we all want to do.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy McDonald.
Thank you for that, Taoiseach. And there is no doubt that that certainty and progress of which you speak is desired by all of us, and most particularly by people in the North. I think it's fair also to say that Europe did listen to concerns that were raised, as they made clear they always would, and an agreement and a deal has been struck. But let's just reflect on the fact that the biggest concern for people in the North is that they have government, The biggest concern is that we have an executive and a functioning assembly 9 months after a democratic election. So there is now, Taoiseach, I'm sure you'll agree, no logic for the DUP to continue its blockade. The negotiations are over. The deal has been struck. Yes, we need to pore over the fine detail of that. But Taoiseach, I'm sure you will agree that we can do that work with a functioning assembly and an executive in place. There is now no room for further delay, prevarication. 9 months on, people in the north need their government up and functioning. And will you join with me in calling on the DUP to make that happen without further delay?
Taoiseach, please.